You weren't born to live small. You weren't born to waste your days scrolling, drifting, or waiting for life to hand you something. Deep down, you know it. You've got more inside you than what you're giving right now. But here's the truth most people don't want to hear. Laziness is the silent thief of your future. It doesn't break in with noise. It doesn't knock on your door. It sneaks in quietly, one excuse at a time, until you look back and wonder where your years went. Comfort has a way of wrapping itself around us like a soft blanket. It feels good. It feels safe. It feels like the place you want to stay. You sit down on the couch after a long day and say, just 5 minutes. And before you know it, an hour has slipped by. That's how comfort works. It disguises itself as harmless rest, but underneath it becomes a trap. Laziness doesn't come crashing in like a storm. It's quiet, subtle, patient. It whispers, you deserve a break, and of course you do. But when that break turns into days of delay, when that pause becomes a pattern, laziness has already stolen ground from your future. The trap isn't in one decision. It's in the slow accumulation of little choices that keep you stuck right where you are. Think about it. How many times have you promised yourself, tomorrow I'll start working on my goals? Tomorrow I'll wake up earlier. Tomorrow I'll write that plan, make that call, take that first step. Tomorrow always feels like the safest place to put responsibility. Tomorrow is easy because it's always out there, always waiting. But here's the problem. Tomorrow never shows up the way we think it will. When tomorrow finally arrives, it comes disguised as today. And if you're not careful, you'll keep pushing your purpose into a future that never comes. The dangerous thing about laziness is that it doesn't feel destructive. It feels comfortable. It feels deserved. But while you're comfortable, time is moving, opportunities are passing, and life is demanding that you grow. Imagine a seed buried in the ground. That seed has the potential to become a tree that feeds generations, a tree that gives shade, a tree that bears fruit. But if that seed never pushes itself beyond the soil, if it decides it's too hard, too dark, too uncomfortable, then all its potential stays locked inside. It rots underground, never reaching what it was meant to be. That's exactly what laziness does to people. It keeps their potential buried. It convinces them that staying safe and comfortable is better than pushing through discomfort to grow. But here's the truth. Nothing worth having is ever born in comfort. Growth doesn't happen on the couch. Destiny doesn't show up while you're scrolling endlessly through distractions. It comes when you're willing to step out of the trap of comfort and face the grind that shapes you. The trap is sneaky because it often dresses up as self-care. You say, I need to rest, I need to take it easy, I need to treat myself. And while rest is necessary, there's a difference between resting to refuel and resting to escape responsibility. One builds you up, the other slowly breaks you down. The danger comes when you can't tell the difference anymore, when laziness disguises itself as balance. And before you realize it, weeks have gone by with nothing to show. You see, comfort sells you the illusion of safety. It tells you that you're fine where you are, that you can wait, that you've got time. But the reality is that every day you stay in that trap is a day your dream loses momentum. Laziness doesn't take everything from you at once. It takes it piece by piece, moment by moment, until you wake up one day realizing you've been living far below what you're capable of. And the truth that stings the most is this: comfort doesn't just steal your future, it steals your hunger. When you get too comfortable, you stop reaching, you stop stretching, you stop believing that more is possible. You accept average as if it's all you deserve. And once you start settling, laziness no longer needs to fight you. It's already won. Hunger is what drives you to get up earlier, to work harder, to push past the pain of discipline. Hunger is the fuel of achievement. But when you feed yourself comfort instead of challenge, that hunger fades, and with it, so does your future. That's why the trap of comfort is so dangerous. It doesn't destroy you with one big blow. It numbs you with little compromises until your dreams feel too far away to reach. And the scariest part is you won't even feel the damage while it's happening. You'll feel warm, safe content, even proud of the excuses you've dressed up as reasons. But one day, when time has moved faster than your choices, you'll realize comfort wasn't protecting you at all. It was robbing you silently every single day while you thought you were fine. Every person walking this earth carries something inside them that was meant to be shared with the world. Call it talent, call it vision, call it a gift. Whatever name you give it, it's proof that you were created with intention. But the tragedy is, most people will go to their graves without ever unwrapping what was inside them. Laziness convinces them that there's always time, that their gift can wait, that one day they'll get serious. And while they're waiting, the years slip through their fingers like sand, and the future they could have lived never materializes. Potential is powerful, but potential alone means nothing. A gift locked away, an idea never acted on, a dream never pursued is no different than having nothing at all. The sad truth is the world is filled with wasted brilliance. Think about it for a moment. The graveyard holds more wealth than the banks, more creativity than the art galleries, more innovation than the tech hubs. Why? Because that's where dreams go when people never bring them to life. That's where books sit unwritten, businesses sit unbuilt, and songs sit unsung. Some of those people had ideas that could have changed families, communities, even entire generations, but laziness kept them still. They thought they had time. They thought they could get around to it later. They thought life would wait for them to get ready. But life doesn't wait. The world doesn't pause while you put your future on hold. I remember once hearing about a young man with a powerful voice. Everyone told him he should sing, that he could inspire thousands. But he always shrugged it off. He said he'd try one day when things slowed down, when he had more energy, when he was in the right place mentally. Years went by. He never sang beyond the walls of his shower. His gift never left his lips to touch another soul. That man's potential was real, but because he let laziness and excuses dictate his choices, the world never experienced what he carried. And the thing is, he'll never know how many lives could have been changed if he had simply acted on what he was given. That's the cost of wasted potential. It's not just about you, it's about everyone who could have been impacted by your obedience to your calling. You don't realize it, but someone out there needs what you've got. Someone is waiting on the book you haven't written, the business you haven't started, the song you haven't sung, the invention you haven't created. Your laziness doesn't just hold you back, it holds them back too. Potential is never meant to stay private. It's meant to be expressed, to be poured out, to serve, to inspire. When you sit still, when you let laziness talk you into comfort, you rob not only yourself, but the people connected to your destiny. And you'll never fully know how far your influence could have reached if you let it die inside you. The danger of potential is that it feels eternal. It whispers to you, you've always got time. You'll always have this talent. You'll always have this chance. But potential has an expiration date. Your voice won't always be as strong. Your energy won't always be as high. Your opportunities won't always be as open. Life is a window, and that window closes faster than you think. Laziness blinds you to how quickly the years are passing. One day you'll look back and realize that all those tomorrows you counted on have vanished into thin air. What's left is regret, and regret is the heaviest weight a person can carry. Potential is a seed, but if you never water it, it will never grow. It doesn't matter how much potential you think you have. What matters is what you do with it. Action turns potential into reality. Laziness keeps potential locked in the prison of good intentions. You can have the best ideas in the world, but if you don't move, they die as daydreams. And what's more painful than living a life knowing you could have been so much more? That you had the ability, the vision, the calling, but you let laziness bury it before it even had a chance to breathe. The cost of wasted potential isn't just the life you missed out on. It's the future that will never exist because you never took action. And that's the most expensive price you'll ever pay. People hear the word discipline and immediately think of restriction, punishment, or something that steals joy. But discipline is not a cage. It's the very key that unlocks freedom. Laziness pretends to set you free because it whispers, do whatever feels good, whenever you feel like it. But when you follow that voice, you end up trapped in missed opportunities, trapped in unhealthy habits, trapped in a life that feels smaller than the one you dreamed of. True freedom doesn't come from doing whatever you want. It comes from mastering yourself so you can rise above the limits of your feelings. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you're capable of becoming. And if you burn that bridge, you'll never cross over into your potential. Feelings are temporary. They change with the weather, with your mood, with what someone says to you in passing. If your life is built on feelings, you'll never have stability because feelings don't hold steady. One moment you're motivated, the next moment you're drained. One day you feel unstoppable, the next you don't want to get out of bed. That's the trap of laziness. It convinces you that feelings are the boss. It tells you to wait until you feel inspired. Wait until you feel ready. Wait until you feel strong. But if you wait on feelings, you'll wait forever. Discipline steps in and says, I don't care how you feel. We're moving anyway. And that's where transformation begins, when action no longer depends on emotion. Think about athletes training for the Olympics. They don't wake up every single day feeling like champions. They don't always want to run, lift, sweat, or push their bodies to the limit. But they understand something vital. Discipline creates consistency, and consistency creates excellence. Gold medals aren't won on feelings. They're won on daily choices to do the work regardless of mood. The same is true in business, in education, in relationships, in personal growth. Success doesn't belong to the most talented or the most gifted. It belongs to the disciplined. Because discipline makes you show up when laziness tells you to quit. I once heard a story about a man who decided he wanted to write a book. He was full of passion, full of ideas, full of excitement. But weeks turned into months, and he had only written a handful of pages. Why? Because he only wrote when he felt inspired. Inspiration visited him once in a while, but not consistently. Then I met another man who wasn't half as talented, but every morning he sat at his desk at the same time and wrote, whether he felt like it or not. In a year, his book was finished. The first man had more talent, but the second man had more discipline. And in the end, the second man's work reached the world while the first man's dream stayed trapped in his imagination. That is the power of discipline. It doesn't ask if you feel like it. It trains you to keep moving until results come. Laziness says freedom is lying in bed, scrolling on your phone for hours, doing nothing. But that's not freedom. That's slavery in disguise. Slavery to procrastination, slavery to wasted time, slavery to regret. Real freedom is being able to say no to what distracts you, being able to command your body and mind to follow your purpose, being able to create a life you can be proud of. That kind of freedom is built on discipline, not on indulgence. Discipline is waking up early because your future matters more than your comfort. Discipline is saving money instead of spending it all because your goals matter more than your impulses. Discipline is choosing to work on your dream instead of wasting another night on distractions. Because you know what's waiting on the other side of effort is far greater than what laziness offers in the moment. The truth is, discipline doesn't take from you, it gives to you. It gives you strength you didn't know you had. It gives you clarity about who you are and what you want. It gives you the power to look back years from now with pride instead of regret. Every time you choose discipline over laziness, you're building muscles that make you unstoppable. And while others stay chained by their feelings, you'll be free. Free to lead, free to build, free to live a life that actually reflects your potential. Time is the most valuable currency you will ever own. And the moment you spend it, you can never get it back. You can lose money and make it again. You can lose possessions and replace them. You can lose opportunities and sometimes find new ones. But once a day is gone, it is gone forever. That's why laziness is so dangerous. It doesn't just waste your time. It robs you of the one thing you can't afford to lose. Every hour spent on excuses, every day lost to procrastination, every season surrendered to comfort is a withdrawal from your future that you can never deposit back. And the most painful truth is that you won't realize how much you've lost until it's too late. People love to say, I'll start tomorrow. Tomorrow becomes next week. Next week becomes next year. And then one day you wake up and realize an entire decade has slipped through your hands while you were waiting for the perfect moment. But here's the secret. There is no perfect moment. The perfect moment is the one you decide to use. Time will not stop for you. It won't pause to let you get your thoughts together. It won't slow down while you get comfortable. It keeps moving, steady and relentless, with or without your participation. And the tragedy is that too many people are living as though they have all the time in the world, when in reality, they don't even know how many days are left in their story. I remember meeting an older man once who told me about his younger years. He had dreams of starting a business, visions of traveling, goals that burned in his heart. But he always said the same thing: when I've got more time, I'll start. When the kids are grown, when things slow down, when life feels less busy. He kept waiting for a season that never came. Now in his 70s, his words carried a weight that struck me deeply. He said, I thought I had time, but I didn't. You could see it in his eyes, the regret of wasted years, the heaviness of unrealized dreams. And it hit me, laziness doesn't always look like sleeping all day. Sometimes it looks like waiting too long, hesitating too much, wasting time under the illusion that there will always be more. That's why time must be treated as sacred. Every day you wake up, you're handed 24 hours that will never be repeated again. Those hours are your investment, your chance to build, to create, to grow, to love, to serve, to move closer to your purpose. How you spend them decides what your future looks like. If you invest your hours in growth, in discipline, in pushing yourself toward your vision, your life begins to multiply. But if you invest your hours in laziness, in distractions, in endless scrolling and empty entertainment, what you reap is regret. The clock doesn't care what you choose. It just keeps ticking. Imagine your time as a bank account where every morning you're given 86,400 seconds to spend. At midnight, whatever you didn't use is erased forever. No carryovers, no refunds, no second chances for that day. What would change in your life if you treated every second with that kind of urgency? What goals would you finally start? What distractions would you let go of? What excuses would you stop believing? Laziness wants you to think you can afford to waste time, but in reality, every wasted second is a stolen piece of your destiny. Think about the people you admire most, the leaders, the innovators, the ones who left a mark on history. What separated them wasn't just talent. It was how they spent their time. While others were wasting hours, they were investing them. While others were delaying, they were moving. They understood that time is not unlimited, so they refused to spend it carelessly. That same urgency must live in you if you want to build the life you were meant to live. Because one day, the hours you take for granted now will be the very hours you wish you could have back. The danger of laziness is that it convinces you time is cheap. It tells you, relax, there's always later, there's always tomorrow. But tomorrow isn't promised. And later has a way of never showing up. All you have is right now, this moment, this day. The way you spend it determines the story of your life. If you give your time to purpose, you gain a future worth remembering. But if you give your time to laziness, the price you pay is regret, and regret is the heaviest debt of all. Laziness is not an unbreakable chain. It is a habit that can be replaced with action. The cure isn't complicated, but it requires courage. The only way to defeat laziness is to move. Even when you don't feel like it, even when it's uncomfortable, even when your mind is screaming for the easy way out. Action is what kills laziness, and it doesn't have to be big or flashy. It just has to start. One step, one choice, one decision to move forward is enough to break the grip of inertia. Momentum is built through small actions repeated consistently, and once you create momentum, laziness loses its power over you. Most people wait for motivation before they act. But the truth is, motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes like the wind. If you live by waiting for it, you'll stay stuck because it's never around when you need it most. Action creates motivation, not the other way around. You don't wait to feel inspired before you move. You move and the inspiration comes after. Think about riding a bicycle. You don't start gliding until you first push down on the pedals. The hardest push is the first one. But once the wheels turn, it gets easier. Life works the same way. The hardest part is starting, but once you do, momentum begins to carry you. Laziness thrives in hesitation, but action suffocates it. I once knew a young man who dreamed of starting his own business. For years he talked about it. He had notebooks full of ideas, vision boards on his wall, hours of research saved on his laptop. But every time it was time to take action, he hesitated. He said he was waiting for the right time, the perfect plan, the right amount of money. In reality, he was letting laziness disguise itself as preparation. Then, one day, he decided to start small. He launched a single product, not a whole business. It wasn't perfect, but it was movement. That first action gave him confidence. That confidence gave him more energy, and soon momentum took over. Today, his business is thriving, not because he waited for everything to line up, because he stopped letting laziness hold him hostage and chose to act. That's the secret. You don't need to leap across the finish line on the first day. You just need to step off the starting line. You don't need to climb the mountain all at once. You just need to take the first step up the trail. Too many people let laziness win because they look at the whole journey and feel overwhelmed. They see how far they have to go and convince themselves they can't do it. But you don't climb a mountain by staring at the peak. You climb it by taking one step, then another, then another. The same applies to your goals, your dreams, your future. Start with what you have, start where you are, and start now. The mind will always try to talk you out of action. It will say you're too tired, too busy, not ready, not smart enough, not good enough. That voice will sound convincing because it's comfortable. But the cure is to move anyway. You don't silence laziness with arguments, you silence it with action. Each time you choose movement over excuses, your willpower grows stronger. Each time you keep a promise to yourself, your confidence increases. Action doesn't just change your results, it changes you. It reshapes the way you see yourself. It tells your mind, I'm someone who follows through. I'm someone who doesn't quit. I'm someone who makes things happen. And once that identity takes root, laziness no longer has a place to live. What you'll discover is that action multiplies. One small choice leads to another. You clean your desk, and suddenly you feel like tackling the project. You go for a short walk, and suddenly you have energy to hit the gym. You read one chapter, and suddenly you're finishing the whole book. Movement creates more movement. That's why it's the ultimate weapon against laziness. It shifts you from stuck to unstoppable. The key is not waiting for the perfect mood, the perfect plan, or the perfect moment. The key is starting now, no matter how small. Because every step you take weakens the grip of laziness and strengthens the future you're building. Your destiny is too valuable to be stolen by comfort. Your future is too important to be wasted on excuses. Don't let laziness write your story. Get up, take control, and live the life you were created to live. Because your future is waiting, and it won't wait forever.